Hello everyone, welcome back. So this is the last video regarding the symmetry elements of the crystals. In the previous session, we have discussed axis of symmetry and we have few more symmetry elements. After completion of these, we will discuss the crystal systems based on what has been asked in the PYQs. Alright, so let us start with the first symmetry element here, that is roto inversion. Now roto inversion is combination of two elements. So rotation and then there is center of symmetry, which is a mirror plane. Okay, so rotation and inversion, there are two activities that are going on here. So rotation plus inversion. Now inversion will happen when there is a mirror plane. Okay, so combination of rotation with a center of symmetry, that is a mirror plane. So they are performed together. Rotation and inversion both are happening at the same time. Okay, so in this diagram here you can see that now for example this is the element here, so this is the palm. Now when you are rotating this palm, okay, so you are rotating this palm to full 360 degrees. So you are rotating it to full 360 degrees. Okay, this was the initial position. You have, this is the initial position here. Sorry, it's not visible. Yeah, this is the initial position, and from here you have taken a full circle and come back to the original position 360 degrees. Okay, पूरा 360 degrees घूम के वापस वहीं पर आ गए. Okay, here you can see it has taken a total 360 degrees turn and has come back. So this is rotation, and now you are inverting it because there is a mirror plane in between. यहाँ पे देख रहे हो तुम, वो mirror plane है. So you are inverting it. So mirror plane के होने से क्या होगा? So if you have a face on the top, that face go to the bottom. If you have a face on the left, it will go to the right. So reverse हो जाएगा. ऊपर है तो वो नीचे जाएगा, right में है तो left में जाएगा, right? So you are rotating to full 360 degrees and you are inverting. So यहाँ पे जो palm है, this palm which was here, it will come back to here. Okay, now suppose you have an element here. Now you are rotating only to 180 degrees. 180 degrees में rotate करोगे तो ये यहाँ पर आएगा, right? It will come to here. So this was the original position. After rotating to 180 degrees, it will come to here. Two-fold rotation. यहाँ पर आ गया, ठीक है? एकदम opposite side में. Now you are inverting it. So this will go to here. Okay. So 180 degrees rotate करोगे and उसको invert करोगे तो it will go to the bottom. So यहाँ पे जो ऊपर original position था, now it has come to the bottom. So अगर ये जो element है तुम्हारा, it can be a phase, okay, face of a crystal. अगर इसको वापस से अगर तुम्हें देखना है, if you want to repeat this again, you have to rotate to 180 degrees and invert it. Then you will get the same face. तो ऊपर एक crystal में जो ये वाला face है, suppose there is a crystal with a face like this. तो ये वाला जो फेस है, अगर ये फेस तुमको वापस से रिपीट करना है, if you want to see that face again, you have to rotate to 180 degrees and invert it. Then you will get the same face. So rotation and inversion both are happening at the same time. Both operations are taken together. So rotation and inversion. अगर तुम 360 degrees घुमाओगे, like in the case of this particular diagram, 360 degrees माने original position पे आ गया वापस से. Suppose this palm, ये जो palm है यहाँ पर, so it was rotated to 180. अगर ये 180 degrees है तो यहाँ पर आएगा, right? 90 degrees है तो यहाँ पर आएगा. 360 degrees है तो it will come back to the original position. तो यहाँ पर वापस आ गया. One fold rotation है. And inversion, it will go down. So rotation and inversion both are happening at the same time. अगर ये two fold roto inversion होता, ये तो one fold roto inversion बोल रहे हैं, अगर ये two fold roto inversion होता इफ इट वाज टू फोल्ड रोटो इन्वर्जन, यानी टू फोल्ड रोटो इन्वर्जन का मतलब क्या है, टू फोल्ड रोटेशन प्लस इन्वर्जन। टू फोल्ड रोटेशन माने 180 डिग्री से रोटेट करते तुम, एंड इसको इन्वर्ट करोगे तो इट विल गो टू हियर। सो नाउ यू हैव अ पाम अबव एंड, तो ये वाला जो पाम है वापस से यहाँ पे रिपीट होगा। ओके, सो roto inversion, rotation and inversion both are taken at the same time. Now two-fold roto inversion, so that means 180 degrees तुम rotate करोगे and invert करोगे. So operation of two-fold roto inversion involves first rotating the object by 180 degrees. Two-fold roto inversion है ना, two-fold rotation करोगे 180 degrees and then invert it. So this operation is equivalent to having a mirror plane, यानी इट इज इक्वल टू हैविंग ए मिरर प्लेन। अगर तुम ये फेस को वापस चाहते हो तो तुम्हें टू फोल्ड रोटेशन करना पड़ेगा, फिर उसको इन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा। सो नीचे मिरर होने के बराबर है ना, इट इज ऊपर वाला नीचे आ रहा है, यहाँ पे जो फेस है इट इज रिपीटिंग हियर, सो इट इज इक्वल टू हैविंग ए मिरर प्लेन। तो टू फोल्ड रोटेट इन्वर्जन को हम लोग बार टू ऐसे रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, और बार टू और विच इज इक्वल टू ए मिरर प्लेन, सिंपली एम लिख सकते हो बार टू, या फिर उसके बदले में एम तुम लिख सकते हो, विच इज इक्वल टू हैविंग ए मिरर प्लेन। बार टू रेयरली यूज करते हैं, जनरली हम लोग एम लिख देते हैं मिरर प्लेन। देन यू हैव थ्री फोल्ड रोटो इन्वर्जन, यानी you will rotate it to 120 degrees and then invert it. So it involves rotating an object to 120 degrees, क्योंकि थ्री फोल्ड रोटेशन का मतलब क्या है, 360 डिवाइड बाई 3, so 120 degrees rotate करोगे and you invert it. So a cube is a good example of an object that possesses three-fold roto inversion axis. तो एक क्यूब में चार ऐसे एक्सेस होते हैं, there are four three-fold roto inversion axis. तो at each corner, तो ये एक roto inversion axis है, right? So passing from this corner to this corner, ये वाला कॉर्नर में जो था वो इस कॉर्नर में पास हो रहा है, यहाँ पे जो होगा it will pass through this corner. Okay, so four corners of the cube, the four corners, the axis which is passing through these corners, this is the three-fold rotation axis. ऐसे चार corners में से जो पास होता है axis from one corner to another corner, opposite corner, so these are three-fold rotation axis in a cube. So there are four three-fold rotation axis or three-fold roto inversion axis. Three-fold roto inversion axis. So a three-fold roto inversion axis is denoted by bar 3. Okay, so there are actually four such axes in a cube. Okay, so if one holds one of the axis in vertical position, अगर तुम इसको पकड़ोगे, यहाँ पर देखो, so if you hold this, if you hold this like this, there are three faces on top, exactly three faces at the bottom. Okay, so if one holds one of these three-fold roto inversion axis, then note that there are three faces on the top and three identical faces upside down at the bottom. So a cube has four such three-fold roto inversion axis. Then we have four-fold rotation axis or four-fold roto inversion axis. So four-fold roto inversion means 90 degrees rotate karo and invert karo. So it involves rotation of an object to 90 degrees then inverting it. तो यहाँ पे देखो ये वाला फेस तुमको चाहिए, so you see, note that an object possessing four-fold roto inversion axis will have two faces on the top and two identical faces upside down on the bottom. If the axis is held at the, you are holding this axis here. Okay, so four-fold roto inversion. Then you have six-fold roto inversion, यानी 60 degrees rotate करो and invert करो. So six-fold roto inversion axis involves rotating the object by 60 degrees and inverting it through the center. So note that this operation is exactly identical to the three-fold roto inversion. उसके जैसा ही है same, but here we have more faces. Now, if an object has only center of symmetry, so if an object has only a center of symmetry, यानी वन फोल्ड रोटो इन्वर्जन एक्सिस है. वन फोल्ड रोटो इन्वर्जन एक्सिस मीन्स इट डज नॉट हैव सेंटर ऑफ सिमेट्री, यानी टू फोल्ड रोटेशन एक्सिस और मोर हम लोग कंसिडर करते हैं, राइट. So if an object has only one center of symmetry, we say that it has one fold roto inversion axis and one bar से हम लोग उसको represent करते हैं. तो इसका मतलब क्या है? Suppose here is a crystal, here is an example. Now this is the face. ये face है. कितनी बार रोटेट करोगे? क्या ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करोगे कि ये सेम फेस रिपीट होगा? What operation do you have to perform to get the same face again? Right? So इसको ऐसे इमेजिन करो. So this crystal is like this. Right, so this is the face, ये face, right. So this is the face that is there in the diagram. ये वाला face है. ये फेस आने के लिए तुम्हें क्या करना पड़ेगा? वापस यही फेस रिपीट होने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? व्हाट ऑपरेशन डू यू हैव टू परफॉर्म? सो व्हाट यू डू इज यू रोटेट इट 360 डिग्रीज. इसको 360 डिग्रीज रोटेट करो. सो देयर वाज एन ऑब्जेक्ट हियर, यहाँ पर ऑब्जेक्ट है, इसको 360 डिग्रीज रोटेट करोगे तो वापस ओरिजिनल पोजिशन पे आ जाएगा, राइट. एंड देन यू इन्वर्ट इट, सो इट विल गो हियर. सो ये फेस दोबारा रिपीट होने के लिए टोटल 360 डिग्रीज रोटेट करना पड़ेगा एंड उसको इन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा, सो दैट द सेम फेस विल रिपीट. सिमेट्री का मतलब यही है ना, रिपीटिशन. So note that the crystal that have a center of symmetry will exhibit the property that if you place it on a top of a table, तो top में जो face है और नीचे जो face है they will be parallel to each other. So ये वाला face वापस से repeat करने के लिए total 360 डिग्रीज रोटेट करो, फिर उसको invert करो, तो ये वाला face जो है वापस से repeat होगा. Then we have center of symmetry. Now what do you mean by center of symmetry? Okay, so a crystal is said to possess center of symmetry if on passing an imaginary line from a particular face or a particular corner or a particular edge. अब इनका मतलब क्या है? देखो जब हम लोग फेस बोल रहे हैं तो इट इज ये वाला फेस हो सकता है. सो दिस इज अ फेस, ओके, और दिस इज अ फेस, ऑलराइट. और व्हेन वी से कॉर्नर, सो दिस इज अ कॉर्नर, दिस इज अ कॉर्नर, दिस इज अ कॉर्नर, ये कॉर्नर है, ये कॉर्नर है, ये कॉर्नर है, right. And when we say edge, so this is an edge, this is an edge, this is an edge, ये एक edge है, ये एक edge है, ये एक edge है. These are all edges. So when you are passing an imaginary line from an edge or a corner or a face, तो देखो ये line जो पास हो रहा है ये face से पास हो रहा है, it is passing through the face. यहाँ पे जो line है it is passing from edge to edge, और ये जो line है it is passing from corner to corner. So when you are passing an imaginary line from an edge or a face or a corner, so an imaginary line, it is passed from a definite face or edge or a corner on one side of the crystal, that means from left side, okay. So you will, and this line has to pass through the center. So you are passing the line from the edge or a corner of a face, okay, and this line passes through the center, okay, on one side. So from a face or edge or a corner on one side of the crystal through the center of symmetry, this line has to pass to the center. On the other side you will have an exact corner or an exact edge or an exact face. When you have such exact faces on the opposite side or exact corner on the opposite side or exact edge on the opposite side, then the crystal is said to have center of symmetry. So तुम इस कॉर्नर इस एज से पास कर रहे हो तो ऑपोजिट साइड में तुमको सिमिलर एज होना चाहिए. व्हेन इट लाइन passes through the center, it should encounter a similar edge. When you are passing a line from the face, it passes through the center, then उसके opposite में भी similar face होना चाहिए. Then that crystal is said to have center of symmetry. Okay, so again let us repeat this, तो clarity आ जाएगा. So a crystal is said to possess the center of symmetry if on passing a line from an edge or a corner or center of a face, and this line passes through the center of the crystal. It passes through the center of the crystal, and you will encounter another similar face or edge or corner on the other side, which is at equal distance from the center. Then it is said to possess center of symmetry. So many crystals, they don't have planes or axis of symmetry. बहुत सारे crystals में plane of symmetry नहीं होता या axis of symmetry नहीं होता, लेकिन definitely they will have center of symmetry. Okay, so center of symmetry is another element. Last is crystallographic axis. Okay, so crystallographic axis, we need to understand this because crystallographic axes are very important because they define the unit cell. वो unit cell को define करते हैं. Okay, they help in labeling the faces of the crystal. So Miller indices को use करते हैं उसमें. So they help in labeling the faces of the crystal. They also help in classifying the crystals into different crystal systems. So different crystal systems में they have a definite relationship. जैसे तुम अगर आइसोमेट्रिक सिस्टम में जाओगे तो all the three axes, they are of equal length and they are perpendicular to each other. We have seen that in the first video, right? So these are termed as axis of reference. So these are imaginary lines which are passing through the center of crystal. ये imaginary lines हैं, but these are very important because they help in defining the unit cell. They help in classifying the crystal systems because they will have a definite relationship, and they also help in labeling the faces of your crystals, right? So they are also termed as axis of reference and are simply certain imaginary lines which are arbitrarily selected in such a way that all of them pass through the center of an ideal crystal. So all the axes A, B, C, they will pass through the center of the crystal. So the concept of axis of reference is based on the fact that exact mathematical relationship exists between all the faces on a given crystal with respect to the center. So ये जो axis है तुम्हारे, if they are of same length, अगर ये सारे axis A, B, C, suppose you have A axis, B axis and C axis. So if they are of different length, we label them as A, B, C. अगर वो तीनों same length के हैं, if they are of same length, we will label them as A1, A2 and A3. अगर same length है तो A1, A2, A3. अगर सबका different length है तो we'll label them as A, B, C. And so जो axis, suppose तुम्हारा axis A है, so if it is towards you, तुम्हारी तरफ आ रहा है axis, it is given a positive sign. So ये faces को label करते समय using Miller indices, so these positive and negative signs कि ये face तुम्हारा front side है या back side है, उसको लेबल करने में हेल्प करता है. सो अगर यही तुम्हारा जो है A axis है, अगर ये पीछे की तरफ है, if the crystal face is on the back side, it will be negative. So B axis जो है ये right side होगा तो it is taken as positive, और वही B axis on the left side it is taken as negative. C axis on the top is taken as positive and C axis on the bottom it is taken as negative. So they will help in labeling. ये positive negative sign जो है ये faces को label करने में help करता है. So these are the symmetry elements. So now you have the basics. Now from the next video we will enter into the crystal systems. So based on the PYQs क्या पूछा गया है, symmetry elements of different crystal systems, we will discuss that. So that will be all. Thank you very much.